All right. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome. My name is Epi Ludwig, and I'm the founder and CEO of Crowdsourcing Week in Bold Words. A brief history for some of you who are new to our platform. Crowdsourcing Week has been around for more than 10 years, and besides doing conferences in over 30 countries and four continents up until 2019. We have shifted our focus, focusing more on digital marketing service for crowdsourcing platforms and solutions, staying true to our core mission by empowering breakthroughs together. Bold is our annual innovation program that we launched together with H Farm back in 2018. We just wrapped up our fifth edition in Venice about 4 weeks ago, where we had people from all over the world attending. This has been our fifth edition, and now we're working our sixth edition. Will be coming up very soon. So if you're interested, just join us on the chat and our team will be connecting with you. First, I'd like to thank our speakers and all of you for joining this crowd session virtual event. Navigating the creator economy, what's next for content creators and innovators. A little housekeeping before we get started here. Any questions you have, please put them on the chat section below. It's down here. Clyde Rafael from our team will be moderating all the questions, and we'll bring them to each speaker after the presentation. Keep in mind, we will also have a panel at the end, so we'll open up for more discussion. So we're truly looking for this crowd session. All right, so our theme of the year at the Crowdsourcing Week. Every year we have a theme of the year. This year's theme is about the age of HI and AI. It's about the human intelligence, the human input, and how the crowdsourcing can make a smarter, more intelligent, but also more ethical AI. So we're living in a very special time where things are moving rapidly fast. However, without the human input, there's no intelligent AI. Let's put it this way. So we are really excited that there are a lot of great tools out there, and so we're covering a lot of these tools throughout the whole entire year. So you can check us out as we go on and creating more content. All throughout the years, we've been promoting all things crowdsourcing across various industries and sectors. In this diagram, you can pretty much see what are the areas that we've been focusing on, from crowdfunding to crowd innovation to mass collaboration, crowd task and creativity. So there's a lot of components that comes with what this crowd economy represents. However, it's very important to be aware of how it all started in terms of the first wave, we call it, which was during the financial global recession we have experienced in 2007 to 2009, where we had the birth of a Kickstarters and Indiegogos and Airbnbs of the world. However, it's also very important to know that we are at the moment that we're now with the advancement in AI. We're seeing this massive wave coming in that is like shifting within the new platforms, which is coming from the world where it was more centralized to more decentralized. So we'll be talking about that as we go. How big is it? How big this space is? If you look at just the United States, the freelancers there are over 73 million freelancers from last year, about to hit 78 million by the end of the year this year. This is truly a massive phenomenon that is happening all across. This is just, we're talking about freelancers, we're not talking about creators economy here, but freelancer alone, we're about 78 million people in the United States who are in some form work directly without an employer, just as an independent. Also worth noting, Goldman Sachs analysts estimated that the creator economy could reach over 400 billion by 2027. This is also quite a big claim, given the fact that there's a lot of things are happening in a such a fast pace. But also, it's important to know that there's a lot of big institutions, especially in the marketing, like Cannes Lions, just launched their Lions Creators. Just recently, just announced this. So we're talking about truly a massive push that it's coming from a various of organizations, and but also because there's a market demand for it. Uh, Clearly, YouTube has been a starter that truly created this creators movement. It's what truly enabled people to create content and plug it in into the platform. However, when we look at, for example, from the era of when YouTube started in terms of user generated content platforms to now heading more towards like decentralized, we're also seeing the creators who are now juggling between these two environments, between centralized and decentralized. The fact that there are also moving more towards the decentralized platforms is because it enables them to directly deal and kind of bypass the platforms that are serving as a middleman. So again, where this future is heading is very, very important. We're not going to have all the questions answered today. However, we are going to focus on a few components here, and that's why we brought in some of great speakers in this area. And we will get to start first with one of our partners. But before we get started, check us out in Bold Awards. We're about to announce that our sixth edition. It is a great gathering. We have a creators economy category for that, and we're truly looking forward to have any of you joining us for our next edition. All right, so when we are talking about the creator economy, we're also talking about the payment systems. And this is something where our friends at Tipalti, Rick Verma, who is the head of digital at Tipalti in Europe, he's going to cover one of the topics of the changing dynamics of a creator brand relationship. But before we get to his presentation, I'd like to just give him some background of where Rick comes from. So he's the head of digital at Tipalti in Europe, as I mentioned, and he's responsible for digital economies business. He has a background in management, consulting, tax, and financial technology, and has partnered with business of all sizes to fix business critical issues. Prior to joining Tipalti, Rick has run a GTM Teams International, and most recently built and ran Avalara's marketplace business across the EMEA region. Rick, are you here? See a video?
I am Epi. Hello. Yes, I am
All
here.
right, great. Well, welcome and good seeing you. So, Rick, looking forward to your presentation. Let me know if you're able to share your screen, or I can just share my screen as well, however you like it.
I'm happy for you to share your screen, Epi, if you have the deck.
Fantastic, great. It's all here. Welcome.
Lovely. Well, thank you very much for having me and that introduction as well, Epi.
If you
So
can turn on the video, can you turn the video on?
uh,
You have
it
your video on?
it was on. I think it's stopped now, Epi.
Okay.
Let's try. You cannot start your video because the host has stopped it, is what it says.
Ah, let me do this here. Uh, can you do
There you
it
go.
now?
Hello.
All
I can do
right.
it now. Yeah.
Fantastic. Great.
Well, lovely. Look, well, Epi, thanks again for that intro. So I'm here today to give you, I guess, the audience today an overview of some of the findings we've had as a result of a recent creator economy survey that Tipalti did with some of our customers and some of the creators in our ecosystem, and also share some information about Tipalti. And for context, I'm going to use the word brands when I speak about companies. And of course, we know what creators are. My hope is that the data I shared today will help both creators and the brands and companies navigate some of the challenges, particularly around the payment and compensation piece, which tends to be obviously very, very important in the creator economy. Do you have the next slide, please? Thank you. So Tipalti was founded in 2010. Our first solve was to look at global payments and how do we make them at scale for our customers. And since then, we've developed our solution around helping businesses pay tens and tens of thousands of creators globally. We've also added broader finance automation capabilities, including accounts payable, procurement, corporate cards, expense management, and so on. So we've got a pretty deep and broad fintech platform. We've got some nice logos, as you can see. But if you want to learn about Tipalti, I can share that directly with you. You can reach out to me in the audience if you're interested. Let's move on to some of the meat of the content. Lovely. So we surveyed in this survey over 600 creators. Across all of these creators, what we found was some pretty interesting stuff, in particular about how they felt about the relationship they had with the brands that they work for. You spoke about some decentralized economic pieces there, and there are many, many brands that are using creators across various decentralized technologies at the moment. So yeah, let's move on to the next slide, Epi, and I think there's some cool stats on there. Thank you. So it goes without saying that a positive, a brand experience can be mutually beneficial for the creator and the brand. And nearly all creators agreed that the type of experience that they have with the brand when they work with them and they're utilized as an influencer and such and as a creator, it impacts the likelihood with them working with them or not working with them again. And most creators have recommended brands to their peers, right? So it tends to be a small world, even in a large economy. And the opposite side of that coin, if there's a negative experience, which are all too common as well, 61% of creators have stopped working with a brand due to a negative experience. And, it's a competitive market and people move to different businesses. Here's what the creators listed as some of their top challenges. The first one was unfair compensation. It's critical that in the creator economy, freelancers are paid in the right way. And comp was, as expected, at the top of their minds. The second piece was unrealistic project expectations and the pressure being put on by brands and companies onto these creators. And us being a payments business, we were not surprised to see that late payments beyond the agreed payment terms and poor communication and lack of payment transparency was a third major pillar that affected them. Now, 95% said that the experience they have when collaborating with a brand does influence it pretty significantly, and whether or not they choose to work with that brand or company again. May I have the next slide, please? Thank you. So compensating them is one thing. Ensuring they're paid quickly and reliably is just as critical. So 50% of creators have experienced bad and late payments from companies and brands. This gets in the way of the creative process for these creators in the creator economy. So half of the people that experience these late payments said they caused them financial strain. It meant that they were unable to manage their cash flows and such, and it does cause a fair bit of issues for them. 41% experienced 41% of those who experienced late payments said it affected the creative work. These guys become accountants rather than creators, which is not helpful. And of course, that ultimately impacts the product they deliver for the brand and the company they're working for. 38% of those who experienced the late payment said it had a negative impact on their motivation, again, ending up in a poor product. So it's critical for brands to understand the repercussions of poor payment practices aren't just limited to, I suppose, short term. 1 in 5 creators told us that late payments from brands led to difficulty sustaining their careers, which makes the talent pool smaller. And when payments are late and come up short of expectations, it's creators who feel the pain, particularly given today's economy and high inflation and such. Can I have the next slide, please? Now, late payments also damage the overall relationship. So with the brand, and most creators agree that that a negative payment experience made them hesitant to accept more work from a particular brand, even if the opportunity initially seemed interesting. This is where that peer-to-peer feedback I mentioned earlier comes in as well. Of the people we surveyed, so there's 600 creators, 83% have taken action following a bad payment process. So 42% have reduced business with the particular brand that created the payment issues. 4 in 10 have stopped business with the brand completely. And 28% started working with a competitor due to a payment issue. I mean, a blasé example of this would be if a ride-hailing app pays weekly versus 2 weekly, and the payment accuracy, for example, can have an impact on who they choose to drive for. Creators are often, I think, customer-facing, right, for the brand, and this payment piece obviously has an impact, whether positive or negative, for that customer experience as well. And the creator economy is highly competitive, and you do need to attract the best folks to to ensure the best customer experience as well. And churn is more expensive than retention. Can I have the next slide, please? Now, a lot of that may have sounded like doom and gloom, but it's not all bad. There's a lot of good here. Most creators are looking for longer-term relationships with brands and more sustainability, more regular and consistent income. And most are not looking for temporary one and done and then never working with that brand again. And it's good to establish those long relationships. Fair compensation and brand alignment with the creative value are high up on the list for retention. Payment automation and administration, as boring as it sounds, has a huge and profound impact on that because it is about money. So if you're a brand, we've got some tips for you what you can do in the creator economy, and that's on the next slide, please, Epi. Thank you. First, you can nurture long-term relationships. So building lasting connections is vital. It's all about the people. Consistency, trust, and a focus on future can turn those one-off collaborations into longer-term relationships, particularly with the good creators that you want to retain. You can stand out as a brand and a company with fast and fair pay. It's interesting, like 83% favor upfront payment as well, which is interesting. You can provide support in administrative tasks, right? So creators aren't accountants. And when during our survey, we found 56% of these creators are spending 6+ hours, I think it was, a week on the admin piece of it all, which of course takes away from what they should be doing. They shouldn't be looking at tax compliance, invoice processing, and payments. They should be creating. Streamline or sever. So 43% of creators who witnessed an increase in automation have chosen to distance from brands or clients not using automated tools because it's more admin heavy in some cases than others. And then, of course, indeed embrace new technology mindfully, because creators appreciate AI support, but 39% are actively using AI tools. There's still fears of displacement in the creator economy as a result of that, which is quite a common trend we see. Thank you. Look, I'll end with these interesting stats. I know it's been stats and data heavy, so I do hope it's been useful from that perspective. 96% of creators that experience payments automation are more likely to do repeat business with you if you're a brand. 94% find it a better experience, and we know that really, really matters for retention of good talent. 92% are enabled with better cash flow, which means they're not under financial stress, and that allows them to create a better product. 79% see less errors when they use payments automation to receive their funds. Now, all of this matters. There's a lot of challenges and interesting innovations in the creator economy, some of which you've touched on already, Epi. Now, from our perspective, I hope you found this data useful. If there's anything further I can do for you, we'll share my details after this session. Thank you very much for having me.
Great, Rick. This is a great data. Payment systems, it's something that lots of the platforms also I've seen that they just they don't pay attention to it until they get such a negative feedback, and then ended up seeing the people leaving their platform. Now, would you be around to give us a more of a discussion with the rest of the presenters here, so we can have a more like a in-depth conversation with them as well?
Oh, yes, I'd love to. Yeah, happy to.
Fantastic. Great. So we'll leave all the questions for the end, if that's fine. And if we have any direct question right now, we can have one question, but we can just Clive, do we have any direct question or no? Okay. So we'll just
No, there's nothing come through at the moment.
okay.
I've just got a quick question though for Rick. Hi, you said the survey was based on 600 creators. Were they all professional, or they were people just doing it as a side hustle and trying to kind of break into the sector?
Great question. It was both. So we looked at the ecosystem that we have of creators and obviously the respondents within that. And it was the way it was defined was people who rely either fully on the creator economy for their income or partially. In our ecosystem, it's unlikely there was people who would that were entrants to the economy. It's more likely they were repeat payees.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for clarifying that part.
Great, awesome. So we'll move with the Adrian Capobianco. He is the CEO and a co-founder of Billy. Stands for Because I Love It. Love the name. A seasoned leader in advertising, media, and technology with a proven track record in revenue growth and a high performance culture. He's excelled as a board member, a speaker, and a volunteer. Adrian's diverse experience spent in tech, media, and advertising, and business development, owning both startups and corporations. His presentation today will be about how Billy more efficient and effective social commerce that he's leading with brands. Adrian also will be joined with Henok Mwamba, who is originally born in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Henok Mwamba was raised in Mississauga, Ontario. After going to St. Francis Xavier University in Nova Scotia, Mwamba was drafted first overall in a Canadian Football League draft in 2011. Mwamba was a professional football player and who has experienced success in both the CFL and the NFL. He'll be joining in this presentation with Adrian, and looking forward to having you both. Adrian and Henok, welcome.
Thank you, Epi.
Thank you.
Epi, do you mind enabling my video?
Yes. Here we go.
It looks like Enoch's good to go there on his video feed.
All right, you can see me.
Yep, all good, all good.
Fantastic. Do you want to share the slides, or you want me to share the slides?
I think if you do the same thing that you just did with Rick, that would be great, and you can drive the
Perfect.
slide. So thank you very much for
Fantastic.
having us today, Epi, and Enoch,
Welcome.
for joining. So what we offered to share was a case study for one of our clients. And the case study is for global sports streaming service DAZN. We can move to the next slide, Epi. One of the we do a number of things. I'll share a little bit on Billy on the next slide. Not the pitch, but only for context in terms of what we do. But my background is former CEO of global ad agencies, helping connect brands with an audience. As we all seen, and many of us know, creators have become not only a media channel, but they've also become a retail channel to an audience. Enoch is one of our amazing board members, advisory board members. Enoch's exceptional in a number of ways. Most pro athletes have a career of about 3 years. Enoch has a career 4 times that, at almost 12 years of a pro football player, also an accomplished motivational speaker, businessman, and I would even say friend. Hopefully you agree, Enoch. And Enoch was one of the creators in this program. So DAZN, if you're not familiar, they operate in over 200 companies, big presence in Europe, in the US, and in Asia. I think Europe's largest digital sports broadcasting service, and DAZN turned to us to work with in conjunction with their ad agency, Dentsu, to help promote the fact that they were the only place where you could get every single NFL game. And part of the plan was to work with creators to help share this message. Epi, we can go to the next slide. This is just a little context on Billy. As I said, just to understand how we work with various partners. We describe ourselves as a social commerce platform, really making the connection between brands and creators. We do 2 things: make that more efficient and more effective. So how do we make the connection between brands and creators better? And how do we make it simpler? We do it in 3 ways. Billy Base, that's social commerce, performance-based. Our platform, creators come into our platform, find thousands of products where they can earn 10 to 40% commission, and help share those products to the audiences who love them. Billy Boost is social content boosting. This is primarily the program that we're going to share with DAZN, where we connect brands with creators and help share that message to a relevant audience. And then on the UGC side with Billy Studios. So there's a couple things that we're going to highlight in this case study that lead to our strengths. We have built up interesting capabilities and partnerships, exclusive partnerships with unions of pro sports leagues, with professional organizations. It gets us access to thousands and thousands of amateur, pro, and retired athletes across North America. We have a database of tens of thousands of creators that we engage with on a weekly basis. But beyond that, we engage any creator in the market, and we've been scaling and growing this. So that's enough about Billy. I just wanted to give a bit of context for those who might not be familiar. So the big picture here is, what do we do? The target audience is, we're going after hardcore football fans. And really what the proposed strategy here was to engage the DAZN audience where they spend their time in social with credible content. So we put together a 6-week program, and over that 6 weeks, the way we have a very performance-driven mindset when we're working with our brand partners, and the way we'll put our proposals forward is, we will put performance guarantees forward. So we'll guarantee a number of views and a number of engagements on a program. And in this case, we exceeded those, but the end results were 6 million views on the content we created over the over that 6-week period for creators. Created 60 plus pieces of content, almost 300,000 engagements, and 6 million views on that content against Instagram and TikTok, which made the program a resounding success. The other kind of obvious success metric here, but we don't share kind of directly, is that we were part of the team, part of the formula that helped DAZN exceed their subscription objectives in terms of signups for the service. We can move to the next slide, Epi. Part of what we want to share on this campaign is 4 sources of success. So as the title of this session hints, authenticity, athletes, and AI, that comes to play here. Using the voices of credit. So how do we kind of generate success with our partners on this program? One, using the voices of credible creators, authenticity point. Two, enhancing the content performance with Billy AI. Epi spoke up front about HI and AI. And certainly, we lean into, the human intelligence, but also, the AI side of things. So we'll chat a little bit about that. The reality of diminishing performance on organic content. So part of our formula for success is great organic content with then boosting to generate guaranteed views for our clients. And then a bit of a bonus on this, and this is where we could enhance this program and take it even further, that we didn't in the first year, but may in others, is closing the loop and driving direct sales of a product or service. In this case, the DAZN subscription. So we're just going to spend a minute on each of these to share some of these points here. The next slide is perfect, and I'm going to pass it to Enoch to share a little bit about this, because he's not a quarterback, but he was a quarterback on this program. So Enoch, share a little bit about this.
That's right. So the first thing we had to do was pull together a team that we could put forward to represent the brand, to represent the zone. And because of, as Adrian mentioned, I've spent time already in the professional world for 12 years, and I've been on both sides in the United States as well as in Canada in both leagues. It was fairly easy for me to kind of reach out to the right people that we could put together in order to put together the team to deliver to our brand. And so one of the major things that we wanted to do, that I was actually looking at when I was trying to put together the team, is that I wanted to have we wanted to have a team that had credibility. Obviously, being professional athletes and having been around the game, people that were well accomplished, and we'll speak to that in a little bit while we introduce the team. But they were all able to be credible because of the fact that they know what they're talking about. They've been seen on TV, and obviously they've been accomplished as well. And so they were credible. The second thing, they were relatable. And more than that, all the true fans of the game of football were also able to believe everything that was being told to them and that was being displayed. And so the brand definitely benefited greatly from that. And so if we move on to the next slide, Epi, I'll also introduce the team that we put together. I was one of the first people that was on the team after I had the opportunity to get selected through Adrian. But after that, most of these guys that you see on the screen here were guys that I already played with. So I already knew them. I had an idea of what they were capable of doing in front of a camera, and their ability to express themselves, and their ability to really represent the brand that we wanted to promote. And so Andrew Harris, as you see, was the other guy who is a very accomplished man as well, has spent quite a bit of time in the pro sports as well. He's won multiple awards, all-stars, as well as championships, multiple championships at that. And then the next person was Willie Jefferson. Willie Jefferson was another guy who was very interesting as well for me, just because he was a former teammate of mine, and he's also won, not with me, but on a separate team. The last person that we chose was someone, Shai Ross. Shai Ross is a friend of mine. I had never really played with him. However, he's someone that had the ability to, reach multiple people. His Instagram page, and he's invested quite a bit of time compared to literally everybody that you see on the screen. His page was by far one of the most advanced, if you will, as he has over 1 million followers, and his reach is organic and has always been very credible, again, because his background is in pro football as well. Now, the other challenge that I feel Billy was able to, yes, we can go to the next slide. Billy was able to help quite a bit on is the next topic that we'll kind of touch on. And Adrian, you can go on with that. But as professional athletes, one of the things that we focus on is just that, our sport. And so it was interesting to kind of see, especially with the question that was posed earlier. Were the creators full time? Were the creators kind of just dabbling on that? And so in our case study, all of the creators were creating really on the side because our primary job has been football for years. And so, with that being said, obviously we might need a little bit of help in order to kind of display in the right way. We're not salesmen. We're not people who went to school for sales or for business, but we have the ability to also reach a certain a certain audience, the right audience for our brands. And Adrian will touch on how AI allowed the athletes to also do the best job possible in order to reach the perfect audience.
Thanks, Enoch. Yeah, up front, I said, part of what we see our key to our success is making the process of social commerce and social content more efficient and more effective. And we've implemented AI through our processes. I mentioned Billy Base, which is essentially the affiliate part of our business, where AI is built right into that platform. You can see some screenshots here with these are actual screenshots from the Billy AI post. But also, what we do is, when we do a program like the DAZN program that Enoch was speaking to, we enable and support our creator partners with AI informed content, hashtags, comments, speaking notes, key messaging, calls to action that help make that process easier for them. It also makes it more efficient, more effective rather. We've tested AI enhanced content in our campaigns and our programs. On the bottom left is an example program right there with a real creator. And what we've seen when we've tested the AI enhanced content versus just a creator written content is 28% increase in engagement. Engagement defined as likes, shares, comments, views, etc. So this is an example. We leverage this in the DAZN program to inform the creator team that Enoch pulled together, and we provide that as a value proposition to our brand partners, our creator partners. Currently, the AI our platform leverages text content and comment. We're rolling out version 2 and version 3 with visual and video enhanced content as well too. And really, at the end of the day, what this is looking to do is help our creator partners be more efficient and effective, and help our brand partners get greater results. And this was part of the secret of success to this successful case study with DAZN. We can go to the next slide, Effie. Enoch, unless there was anything else you wanted to add on that?
Nope, not at all. Aside from
Okay.
the fact that AI was definitely beneficial to the whole team.
Great, thank you. This is a couple examples of the content that we had in here. All of these are hyperlinked to videos. I think we probably should not play them. Epi, if you're going to share some of this, we can send a couple of these video links out after to attendees. The only reason I'm going to suggest not playing it is sometimes I find video within Zoom gets a little quirky. What's important across all this content, these are 4 examples from the creators here. Obviously, you see Enoch in the middle there. When we work with our brand partners, our creator partners, we're looking for multiple ways of success. I mentioned we had over 60 pieces of content, which sounds perhaps daunting. It actually isn't. What we ensure with our creator partners is to create once, leverage multiple times. So creating content and as much as possible sharing that, whether it's an Instagram, also sharing it across TikTok, also sharing it across Facebook or other platforms. Creating content once using multiple formats of it to get greater organic reach. Consistency across the content can be very difficult to do. And part of how we manage the process with our creator partners, our team manages a process with briefing notes, speaking notes, review process, etc. So at the end of every one of these 65 pieces of content, you'll hear a call to action from the creators of visit dazn.com and subscribe today. And you can see here, these first 2 videos racked up over 1 million views on them. You'll see that there's DAZN branding in there. Various creators have the DAZN merch on. It's all part of what we create, produce, and share with our creator teams to make them as effective as possible. The other thing that's really important the other 2 things that are really important to success is while we want to, enable our creator partners with the right content and the right messaging, we don't want to stifle their creativity. The video on the left here is a perfect example where, Enoch and Shy were briefed about, kind of the upcoming season. And, what they came up with, Shy's a bit known as a, backflip phenom, and, Enoch gives him a call on his phone, and, Shy answers the phone. It's like, NFL season starting, backflips from the gym and transition to the backflip onto the couch at home, ready to watch the zone. We didn't tell them to come up with these ideas. Enoch and Shy together brainstormed, came up with these ideas to be able to execute that. The other thing, and this speaks to the 8% versus 1,000%. Anyone who's kind of looked, behind the numbers and behind the data, unfortunately, we see a significantly decreasing effectiveness of organic reach. Now, it still plays a very important role, but you see anywhere from 5 to 10% organic reach against an audience. So, as Enoch said, Shy's audience when he started this program was about 60,000 followers on Instagram. I think it's about 1.2 million right now. But if you take, either way, if you take, 6, 7, 8% of that audience, it's a modest number. So once, we definitely leverage organic content, and all the creators would post their content organically. We usually let them run 24 to 48 hours, and then we boost that content behind that. So it's a good mix of organic versus boosted and paid content. To make sure that the organic audience gets it first, and then we get that out to an extended audience that matches our brand's target audience, and that's how we're able to guarantee to our brand partners to say, you know what, these videos, we guarantee by the end of the weekend we'll have 1 million views over them within that client's budget. So it's all part of the formula to guarantee and ensure we generate those results for our clients. The last slide here before we wrap up is closing the loop. So this is a bit about how the Billy platform works. The content you saw there was was organic content posted on the creators' Twitter or X, Instagram, Meta, and Facebook, and TikTok platforms. Part of where we can be really effective, and this speaks to our positioning as social commerce partners, is closing the loop on sale. So the Billy platform, any creator goes to store.becauseilove.com, and they can view products that are there. They can create their own creator store, share the products, find the products they love and share it with people who love them. Hence the name, as Epi said, Because I Love It, short form for Billy. Very easy for us to add, the DAZN subscription as a product or service in our platform that creators could sell and then earn off of. We did not do that in the first one. That would be the one area of improvement. We may do it in a follow-up campaign for them. But closing that loop from that social content to social commerce is very important, and very few folks can pull that together in a seamless way. Like we're able to do. So that's a wrap on that. We're happy to answer any questions, but overall this campaign was very successful for the client, for the creators, and the 4 things, just to recap, that generated that success was using the voices of credible creators, as Enoch spoke to that team, enhancing the content with AI, amplifying the organic content with strong content boosting, and then the opportunity to up the game and close a loop to drive direct sales. So that's the end of our formal speaking notes. Epi, thank you for having us. Enoch, did you want to add any final notes on that, or do you want to perhaps hand it over to Epi and roll to any questions if need be?
Yeah, we can hand it over to Epi. But again, I think that was a huge success for us as a brand, as a organization, and we continue to look for more successful cases as we just had, and the obvious combination of HI plus AI absolutely leads to us to believe that it'll only get better and better for us.
Fantastic. This is great. Well, thank you. This is something that a lot of other brands can start and get inspired in an effective way of getting the product, but also at the same time, empowering creators. Now, Enoch, when you were approached in this project, what were your first thoughts that came to your mind? Like, what am I going to do here? Or what were your thoughts in this?
We had some great conversations with Adrian, and we had some good meetings with the brand as well. So I had a good understanding of what the brand actually wanted to accomplish with this partnership. And the next steps was just okay. Well, we got to gather the team, and so gathering the team wasn't too difficult again because of the experience that I have in the league. And so it was gathering the team, explaining exactly what the goal and the objectives would be going forward, and then from then under the guidance and leadership of obviously Adrian and the whole team at Billy, and again with the support of AI, it was absolutely terrific and a fun, project to be a part of. And again, I have to mention the fact that this was all on the side, right? And Adrian spoke to the creativity and the ability to utilize AI, but also not kind of dim each creator's ability to create various things. And so, we have meetings weekly, myself and whoever I was involved with on a particular week. And we'd sit down, and it didn't take too long because it was right in our wheelhouse when it comes to speaking about football, talking about specific points and looking ahead. So it was in our wheelhouse, but also we're able to kind of be creative. Like Adrian mentioned, we had some, calls back and forth. And sometimes I met up with some of the guys that were near with me. And one of the guys that for one of the weeks, I was actually playing in his city. And so we met up, the day before the game, and we sat down and we started to talk about, what we wanted to discuss, and then we banter and go back and forth. But it made for an entertaining as well as credible, like we mentioned at the beginning, and relatable conversation that people would be able to
Right.
understand and feel.
It's great. So we have a question here. Clive, do you have any questions directly? I see a raised hand from one of the attendees.
Yeah. This hi, it's great to have heard that explanation and hear your insights into this. It's great to see pro athletes being able to build a complementary career through getting involved as creators and influencers. They're obviously starting from a very strong position. They've got, as you were saying, they've got such credibility and authority to help build the strong links for the brands. But there's a question from one of our attendees today, which goes right back to almost the complete other end of the spectrum, and it's how can a beginner creator get involved with brands and start to generate profits for themselves? Adrian, is that something you can?
Yeah, I can speak to that. I mean, there's a much longer conversation and discussion to that, but I'll speak to actually the creators that we as Billy focus on and why we do it. A lot of attention goes to celebrity influencers and creators, typically 1 million plus. Right. And, even though, we in this program, we worked with star athletes, they're, on their field of play, they are stars, but they're not always in social. Right. So we don't focus on the 1 million plus creators, which is about 2 or 3% of the total creator community. If you think about a pyramid of creators, we focus on the nano, mid, micro, macro. Most of the creators we're working with on programs have somewhere in the range of 20 to 200,000 followers. The reason we focus on this size of creator is for 3 reasons, and this speaks to some of the benefits of being a smaller creator. One, if you add up all creators below celebrity, they have an aggregate reach that's 3x bigger than all celebrity creators. So they have a greater reach than all celebrity creators, which people don't realize. Number 2, the engagement tends to be 3 to 4 times higher than celebrity creators or large creators. The smaller your audience, the more of a direct connection there is there, more engagement. Brand partners love that, right? And then number 3, those are the creators that are much more willing and flexible to work with brand partners. So as a smaller creator, there's actually some benefits there. A small creator can, if they have an engaged audience, can work with a platform like Billy or others to create a store, find products they love, and share people love them, and then earn off of that. They can also generate user-generated content for brands, so creating video images, video assets, picture assets that don't require their reach, but that brands can use. So they can be a UGC creator to do that. So there's a number of reasons there, and then kind of going back to that authenticity point and that passion point. And as we said, Shai, for example, one of the creators in our program, when we started the program 8 months ago, had 60, 70,000 followers, which is still a good following. But right now it's 1.2 million, which is amazing. And because he's kind of leaned in on his passion vertical around fitness, health, wellness. So there's a number of answers there. Enoch or Rick or if you may want to add to that, but it's kind of, there are ways to leverage strengths, which is you have greater engagement and build on this. And it doesn't have to be a full-time hustle. Even the athletes that we work with in the program, this is a part-time part of it. It goes back to Epi's point of the number of independent freelancers, kind of what Rick talked about in terms of like democratization of and decentralization of creators and smaller audiences. So there's ways to kind of build that authenticity with your audience and lean in on your engagement.
I couldn't agree with that more, Adrian. I think particularly that passion piece, I think Enoch's authenticity comes out incredibly well because he knows the topic so well. He's passionate about it. And when you're working with a brand that has the same values, the same product, something that you're passionate about, I think it's easy to generate profits. I think it's easy to start building that following for yourself as long as you're passionate about it. It's funny. I didn't want to interrupt your presentation, of course, but I am a consumer of that product. So I am a DAZN subscriber. I live in London. I have been a subscriber for the NFL Game Pass since it's come to London. If my background wasn't blurred with the logo you would see behind me, it's signed NFL memorabilia, jerseys. So I'm a huge, huge fan. And I was worried when the NFL Game Pass in the UK transitioned to DAZN. It's like, how's this going to work? Right? I've known of the DAZN brand historically for different reasons. And what you guys did with Billy worked on me. So congrats.
Thanks for adding that, Rick. That's good to hear.
But it's
We
good
have
pat on the
we have
back.
Epi, if you'll allow me, just the one thing that I wanted to add
Yeah.
to everything Adrian said so eloquently. And being a professional athlete, I also understand that there's a difference between fans following you and creating that community, right? When we're talking about being able to how do we measure success, specifically dealing with the cases that we're doing right now, we want to be able to have not just the credibility that comes with our profession, but also the engagement and the ability to relate to a fan. So that there's just a difference. Although we might have a head start, a lot of us as athletes, we are okay with having fans following us, but only a few of us focus on creating that community and that relationship, which will then build the trust to listen and follow more beyond really our playing career.
We have a question from Valeria. I'm going to allow her to talk here and maybe get her. Valeria, can you hear us? Can you hear us? I see the raised hand.
Hello, yeah.
Yes, hi. How are you?
I'm
I'm
fine,
not sure if
thank
I'm able
you.
to turn on the video. I'm trying to turn on the video, but you can go ahead and ask the question.
Okay, yeah, sure. So I wanted to write in the chat, but maybe you didn't see it, I don't know. But the question is, how can we generate profits from this business as a beginner creator?
Okay. Does that speak to the first the question that you would ask, Clive, as kind of like a smaller creator,
It's
how to
about
generate
similar, yeah.
profits? Or
Yeah.
Yeah, that we answered that question. But if you wanted more, we can always come back to you with more details. Now, when it comes to payment systems, obviously the Rick Tipalti is the one of the largest payable systems in the world when it comes to the creator economy. What do you see here in terms of the shifts? Like I've talked initially about the more like centralized platforms versus decentralized platform. We see also creators shifting from actually working both from a centralized and decentralized. Where do you see Tipalti in this case? Like, is it how much of attention you're paying to this space, and is there a big shift, or is just something that nothing to be taken seriously?
I think it's a gradual shift. I wouldn't say it's a big shift just now. I think the creator economy's gradually been getting bigger. I mean, the stats you shared at the beginning were fascinating, right? How big it can get. The Goldman Sachs analyst report and such. And I guess from a topology perspective, we do keep a massively close eye on it. And we have a huge portfolio in this space, and we're proud of it. It's funny. Even if we think about the gaming world, for example, and the creator economy there, and the streamers creating content. If you think about Activision, Blizzard, Electronic Arts, Twitch, Roblox, they have one thing in common, other than the fact they're in gaming. They use topology on the back end. And I think it's primarily because of the experience it creates for those creators. I don't think it's necessarily about receiving funds and money. Or receiving the right funds in the right way, it's helpful, but it's more about the experience. And if you have a nice experience, you're tackling. I'm sure Enoch's time should not be spent doing tax returns and figuring out whether Wire or Global ACH makes sense for to receive funds as a result of these campaigns. And I think our value add in that space has always been making that creator experience incredible, like magical. That's where we see ourselves in that space.
Yeah, we have one more question from Mick, and we'll wrap this up. Mick, can you hear us?
Hey guys, yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Fantastic. Great. So, so I guess my question was related to what you mentioned there about the decentralized versus centralized, and I'm building a crowdfunding platform on top of Bitcoin, which is an open kind of decentralized financial system. And so, love to hear your thoughts on this, because right now, if you think about PayPal, if you think about GoFundMe, Kickstarter, all these creative platforms are all very much Western centric. So I think GoFundMe, for example, works in 19 countries. Kickstarter works in like 30. And that's all very, very limited. And that's because they're relying on these payment providers like PayPal or Stripe that are quite limited. And so if you think about, tapping into this open financial system, then finally we can have this broader open crowdfunding platform that anyone from around the world can access to receive funds from and to anywhere else in the world, which is opening up the pie, expanding the pie immensely. To think that in Africa and South America, in Asia, people cannot use these basic tools. So curious to hear your thoughts.
So what's the question, Mick? Do you have a question?
The question is, have you guys considered that as part of the implications for a decentralized open crowdfunding platform?
I think that was an answer that we got from Rick previously. On that, unless you want to add something else, Rick.
I'm just thinking through it, and I think it's a valid thing. I think I often think about. I certainly see the value, and your point, Mick, right? Being able to move it in a decentralized way around the world, it does make sense. It opens up opportunities. I think there's definitely room in the market and space in the market for having less restrictive banking rails, financial rails that do allow for those markets to open up. There's a lot of risk around sanctions, OFAC, money laundering and such, which have to be considered when looking at more decentralized platforms that do move money, particularly large amounts of money. And usually the restrictions, the GoFundMe, the Kickstarter, such they have in those markets are a result of local regulations or restrictions not allowing them to do it. But there's definitely, it's an impactful strategy. It's doable.
Yeah. Yeah, great. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. And thank you all for being this part of a crowd session. Join us next in May 23rd at 5 p.m. Central European Time for our next crowd session. We'll talk about the crowdsourcing enterprise challenges shaping the future innovation. Also, if any of you are interested to join us for our 6th edition of Bold Words, let us know in the chat or reach out to us. We'll be announcing that very soon. Adrian, thank you. It was great presentation. Enoch as well, great stuff. And Rick, always great seeing you. Thank you also for being a great partner of ours for many years. And looking forward to next time. Have a great evening, and we'll see you next time. Be bold always. Take care.
Thanks, Epi. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks. Cheers, everybody.